All right, welcome Frontline, 6 o'clock here on the East Coast, and I'm coming to you live from Studio Z, where Vice President J.D. Vance is back in his hometown of Middletown, Ohio. Today, as he told us yesterday, he was going to be returning to the steel plant, where his grandfather worked for 4 decades almost, delivering a fiery speech against Democrats.
Whether it's child predators, Somali fraudsters, foreign gang members, or even visa fraudsters who are working to undercut American wages and steal from American taxpayers, the Democrats know who they stand for. It's anyone but you.
Backbone of America, yes, sir. Plus, the crypto rally, back on, baby. You know I'm an XRP bro. All right, Bitcoin back above 70. I think Ethereum just hit 2,500. XRP's up 40% on the week. The surge comes as President Trump calls on Congress to pass the Clarity Act while the Treasury doubles its planned bond buybacks. 2 developments giving crypto investors plenty of risk on and reasons to pile back in. And where the hell is Mitch McConnell? He's been out for over 2 weeks since being released from the hospital after being admitted back in June, folks. He's still, we're going on 3 months here, refuses to put any type of video that he's 1, alive, and 2, actually fit to serve. How on earth is this acceptable? This is what we railed on Biden about, remember? Okay, but if you're not, Senate Leader John Thune says, everything's just fine. I don't trust you because you won't pass the Save America Act. But first, a deficit of authenticity and Democrats just eating their own. It's great. Let's do this. All right, as we get closer to the general election, a lot of the far left socialists who ran on the crazy stuff are starting to turn the corner and try to appeal to the more moderate general public. This isn't sitting well with the left's base, especially the DSA. The Liberation condemns Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's continued retreat from socialist policies and rejects any effort to present her as the future presidential standard bearer for the DSA or for the broader socialist movement. They went on. In short, it was determined that she had failed to meet conditions concerning Palestine solidarity. Whoa, the darling of the left, the rising socialist star, who, by the way, was like one of the OGs to tout socialism and elevate the DSA.
In your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, there's many.
Yeah.
One prevailing one is democracy. And I believe that democratic socialists are fundamentally pro-democracy.
We choose freedom. We choose justice. And that means we must choose to out-organize the oligarchy.
Now, the very movement she helped elevate is pretty much tossing her out with the bathwater because she's not radical enough. AOC, not radical. These people are never happy. This is why I never give them an inch. They can scream in my face, they can insult me, they can call me whatever they want. I will never give them an inch because there is no end to how crazy and how radical they are. Think about this. If they're willing to do that to AOC, their own soldier AOC, how little do you think they care about you or me? Seriously. When I say they don't care if you eat bugs, I absolutely mean it. They are saying the most phony stuff you can possibly imagine. They do whatever that gets them elected. They're all running to this. Oh, I'm just like you. I'm blue collar and poverty and all this other stuff. And most of them are not. Tallarico trying to sweat a pipe. Give me a break. He's got his nice lab coat on. They're nothing like us. They don't care. They're just saying whatever they can to get elected, like Tim Walz trying to shoot an animal that he's never even hunted before. These libs are incapable of sincerity. They must be perceived as the victim, even if that means denouncing their own family, even sometimes their own success, or even for whatever reason, they just have to hide it. This is what I loved about Donald Trump. That guy didn't give a flying you-know-what. There was no BS. He's like, I am what I am. This guy showed up in Iowa for the primaries. Look at him, in a business suit after buzzing Ted Cruz's speech to Trump. You remember that? He buzzed over while he was talking, and everybody was like, oh, yeah, that's why he won that primary. Every other candidate stood there in like a flannel shirt that someone from their team bought him at Tractor Supply on the way in. Creases were still coming down the shirt. Trump, red tie, custom suit. He's like signing tractors, stepping in cow patties with shoes that are like worth more than my car. Didn't care. Owned everything about who he was. And then he stood on stage and was like, yeah, I'm really rich.
I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using donors. I don't care. I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second.
Like, never, that's why he won. He was authentic, never hid from it, just owned it. And it worked. In fact, he worked at McDonald's too, and still fit in. The billionaire could get along with people making minimum wage. Now the left, on the other hand, don't get me wrong. There are some Republicans that do this too, not nearly to the degree that Democrats do it, but I'm only bringing this up so you can, when they start touting these lines, you can tell your liberal family members, like, guys, you need to see through this stuff. Let's go down the list of some of these folks that are up and coming now. Rebecca Bennett, New Jersey 7. She goes, oh, I'm navigating the astronomical cost of food and education and health care and child care while trying to balance work and family. Okay. $250K income in 2024 with over $1.8 million profile and her house that apparently has no mortgage. And the cherry on top, this woman is this whole like woe is me campaign making childcare about like one of her pivotal talking points in her campaign. And guess what? According to the FEC records, Bennett's campaign, as you can see right here, has paid $21,250 since June of 2025 to cover her childcare expenses with your donations. You people who believe in her are paying for her childcare. Congrats. She also famously campaigned on having a 2010 Honda Accord that they bought, a while ago because she's one of us. But she also bought a house for over $700,000 that is now estimated to be worth more than $1.1 million, and they rent that out for $7,500 a month. It's not the place they live. Then there's this guy, Sam Forestag, Montana 1. There's only 2 districts in Montana. So he's calling himself this blue-collar smoke jumper. And look, to be fair, he was a smoke jumper for 4 years. This is his campaign ad. All right, he was in forestry service for 8 years. This is great. Great job. I still don't agree with any of his policies. I would never vote for him ever. And he should run on that. But he's leaving out like a super key component. The fact that he's also a registered lobbyist, or was at least. That's like the deepest of the deep swamp people. He's not an outsider. He's not some blue-collar guy. He's a lobbyist. He rubs shoulders with the people. Marie Glusenkamp-Perez. I think I got that right. Of course, look at her. Of course a woman like that hyphenates her name. She looks super pleasant, by the way. Washington 3. Small business owner in the trades. That's what she's selling to everybody. And this is great. Rocking the Carhartt stuff everywhere. She has all these pictures with her like a wrench walking into a garage. She claims that this blue-collar persona is like totally her, but I don't think she's ever actually changed a tire. In fact, you want to prove me wrong, go change a tire on a live stream. I want to see you change oil and brakes or weld something. You fancy yourself some sort of auto mechanic in like literally every commercial. Prove it. Because we're finding out that she's actually just behind the scenes managing the business side of the auto shop, which, by the way, is also okay. That's great. But don't lie about it. That's the problem. They cannot be authentic. She did conveniently leave out that her garage in 2017 was cited for multiple workplace safety violations in an OSHA inspection. But hey, who cares, right? She talks about working 3 jobs to get herself through college. Yeah, like Kamala worked at McDonald's too, right? Yeah. No one cared to verify whether or not she actually worked at these entry-level jobs because the story doesn't actually make sense. She lists no student loans on her financial affidavit, too, which it would be impossible almost to work those jobs that she's claiming and not have student loans. And I have to wonder, did her parents pay for college? I mean, if so, again, that's okay. They do that for a lot of people, and if you're fortunate enough to have that, fantastic. But own it. Don't lie about working in she literally says, I worked in like an iPhone case sweatshop. No, you didn't. By the way, instead of railing against colleges for charging insane tuitions for basket weaving degrees, no. She got to toe the line of, poverty, which shows that they don't actually want to fix anything. She's just playing victim here again. Another one, Gabe Vasquez, this is New Mexico too, who said he never had the luxury of financial wealth. Really? You actually did. See, his family took lavish European vacations and shopped at a lot of luxury brands because his mother worked as a senior finance analyst at GE. Oh, the sweatshops of GE, being a senior finance manager at GE. Dude, your mom worked her ass off to get there, and you're diminishing her. This is the salary range, $161,000 to $206,000. Okay, that's a healthy salary, and you should be proud of that. Your mom earned that. I mean, you should celebrate it, not be embarrassed by it. But they cannot do this. Just like Jasmine Crockett, who went to an elite private school and acts like she's from the ghetto. AOC is from nice, wealthy Westchester County, New York, not the Bronx. Plattner isn't some blue-collar oyster farmer. He has one client, it's his mom, and he lives off his disability from the military. He went to Hotchkiss, which is the most expensive private school in Connecticut. But this is where we're at. Pandering to the max. Folks, don't fall for this stuff. I really wish we could get back to a government that was truly of, by, and for the people. When people ran for office because they had already succeeded in the private sector and they wanted to give their expertise back to the country, not because they had failed on every other option. They had nothing else acceptable to do in life, and they just wanted to grift off the system like we have now. That's where we're at. Founder of the Walkaway campaign, Brandon Straka, my man, dude, this to me is like, when you put them all together, I'm like, wow, this entire party is front. No wonder he walked away from it.
No, it's true. And it just progressively gets worse and worse and worse. But I got to tell you, I mean, I look at this and I look at sort of like the rising trend of the Democrat socialists taking over the Democratic Party and actually gaining momentum across the country. And I got to say, you know, it's one thing for us to look at them and pick apart the disingenuousness and the hypocrisy and how absolutely inauthentic they are. And you're right, you're not wrong in the least. But I gotta say, they're doing something really right. And I want Republicans to start paying it. I've been sounding the alarms on this for years. They're tapping into the affordability issue, and they're doing it really what Democrats always do really well, which is market an idea. Their ideas are terrible always, but they market them really, really well. And so what they're doing right now is appealing to so many people in this country who are struggling with wages not keeping up with inflation, housing prices through the roof. People are waiting longer and longer to get married. If they're getting married at all, they feel like they're never going to be able to own a home. And the Democrat socialists are saying, we see you, we hear you, we have a plan for you. The government's going to come in and solve all your problems. And also, we're just like you. And look how hip and cool we are, too. It's totally fake, but they market a bad idea really well.
100%. I mean, tell the lie, keep telling it, and eventually people just, take it as gospel. But I've said the same thing you're saying right now, that they are so good at messaging and so bad at policy, and Republicans are so good at policy if they can actually get the Senate to vote on it, and so bad at messaging. And I think people are seeing through it because they're like, okay, inflation was like 9.5% under Biden at one point. It's like 3.5% now, but before that it was like 1%. There was this report finding that from 2020 to 2024, Republicans added 4.5 million new voters, in large part to people like yourself, sir, who went out and you were like, guys, if you're a Democrat and you're not an idiot, come on over to the Republican Party. They're not the solution to all your problems, but they're not the cause of them like Democrats are.
Well, that's right. And I mean, the one thing, so they may be good at marketing a bad idea, but they also have a tendency to have a very huge lack of self-awareness. And one of the ways where they have a huge lack of self-awareness is that they kind of want to change everything and not for the better. So they're against law and order. Crime rises under Democratic Socialists. Neighborhoods go to hell. People have seen these ideas experimented with around the world, but even in certain cities. And these cities and these areas go into a steep decline. So I think people are kind of aware that they are wolves in sheep's clothing. At the same time, I got to say, 10 years ago, the membership of the Democratic Socialists of America was 5,000 people. Today, it's 130,000 people. So they have seen a 2,500% increase in the last decade. Now, that might sound really scary, and we should be paying close attention to this. We should be alarmed. Sure. We should be fighting back against the socialists. But here's the good news, I think it's almost like, for anybody who knows New York City well, we remember the hipsters in Williamsburg, super annoying, like just the most,
the worst.
Right? I kind of think that's what the socialists are like. Honestly, I think that we're going to find in maybe 5 years is that this is almost like a hipster trend that's super annoying. And then people are just like, oh, enough with the socialists. They're so annoying. I actually think that's what's going to happen.
My sister lived in Brooklyn for a few years, and I never went and saw her. I was like, I just can't stomach going to Brooklyn because I went to there one time, and I was like, can I get a Coors Light? They laughed at me, and they were like, oh, we only carry like IPA and like some weird like micro brews. It's exactly what you're talking about, Brandon. Real quick.
I'm sorry, was that?
Real quick, last word.
Oh, yeah, no, I think that Republicans really need to be coming up with some solid plans to fight back against the affordability issue. We need to be marketing these ideas well, and we need to be talking about them constantly. There's been too much focus, I think, on foreign affairs. Let's get back to domestic issues. Let's talk about affordability, and let's get people interested in coming out and voting conservative again. It's important.
Yeah. And maybe just not spend $2 trillion more than we take in. I mean, that's always a thing, too. Brandon Straka, pleasure.
Maybe that, too. Yeah, thanks.
It could be, but maybe I'm too crazy. All right, coming up, Carmelo Anthony just took another bizarre turn with that case. New details emerging, and now the new Black Panther Party is putting their, dare I say, weight behind it. I'll give you my thoughts on this in a minute. But first, no ID, no problem. One journalist put Alaska's voting system to the test, and what happens next? Putting Senator Lisa Murkowski in the hot seat. Our legal panel is going to sound off on that coming up.
Whoa. I need a medic.
No warning, no time. When suspects turn violent, officers have seconds to survive. Watch the Caught on Body Cam series for the drama, the actual footage.
Suspect down! Suspect down!
The real life, all on Newsmax Plus. Start your free trial today at newsmaxplus.com.
Why go on Roe? Because 1 in 4 guys experience ED. Guys, connect with a provider to find treatment that could be right for you, like fast-acting dissolvables or daily gummies. If 1 in 4 guys deal with ED, then 1 in 4 guys should go on Roe.
What if your GLP-1 for weight loss was as easy to take as a mint? Small, discreet, and easy. Think about that. No needles. This is compounded tirzepatide, a mint-flavored tablet designed to fit into your daily routine. You simply let it dissolve under your tongue. A simple daily tablet, as easy to take as a mint.
Save $50 with promo code SLIM at dropthepounds.com/slim. That's promo code SLIM at dropthepounds.com/slim.
Honey, Mortgage Bunny 6 says we should keep renting.
Mortgage Bunny 6?
Reba says more realtor agents recommend Realtor.com. They track every market so you know when to make your move.
He also says that Bigfoot... Got it.
Make it real with Realtor.com.
This is our time, you know? His favorite route is the long way around. Now we can take it again. I'm not sure who loves this freedom more, him or me.
Being out here alone is my happy place. Nature can have its threats, but I'm prepared.
I'm not trying to fight wildlife. I just don't want one bad encounter deciding everything.
Carry confidence wherever you go with Byrna. And now it's the biggest sale ever at Byrna.com.
More proof of our elections are not secure. We'd like to, point this out again. One investigative journalist completely exposed Alaska poll workers after they offered him a ballot under the name of Senator Lisa Murkowski, the senator from their brother, Brian Murkowski, without requiring any identification. He simply said he had left his ID at home and asked whether it would still be possible to vote. The response? Oh, yeah, it's absolutely possible. No problem. Murkowski's team apparently is furious, suggesting that the journalist should face prosecution for the crime of exposing the vulnerability. And yes, this is the same Senator Lisa Murkowski who is against the Save America Act that would demand, that would have solved all this problem. Now we know why she's not for this. Senior counsel at the Article 3 Project, Josh Hammer, and former U.S. Attorney Jay Town. All right, Jay, this to me is so stupid. Don't expose the fraud and get mad at it when they expose it, or just fix the problem.
Right. They're mad about this particular instance, not the fact that this could be abused at a global, at least national scale, right? Think in Alabama, I go in, I take my ID, I give it to them, they scan the back of it, and then they see that, yes, I haven't voted and I am who I am based on the ID, and then they hand me my Republican ballot and I go vote. That's how they know that's a real ballot. In this case, in Alaska, hey, I'm Carl Higbie. Are you sure? Yeah, sure, I'm sure. Okay, well, here's your ballot, right? That's it. Do you have your ID? Nah, I left it in the car. It's 100 feet away. Oh, well, then here's your ballot, right? Like that can't happen in every one of these Save America Act no-vote states.
But Josh, this is the problem. Like Cam Higbie went out and did this thing again in Minnesota, and now officials in Minnesota want him charged. But like, here's the problem. He didn't touch any ballots. He didn't lie. It was theoretical. Can I? Would I be able to? Is it possible? Do they have any case to charge him, or are they going to do it anyway?
No, there's no case to charge him whatsoever. But I think that there's an additional important point here to make, which is we're talking here about Alaska. Okay, this is Alaska. I mean, Minnesota is an iconic blue state, as we know. It's been run by the Democrat machine for essentially my whole life. Alaska used to consistently, and to an extent, sometimes still does, go for Republican candidates statewide by a double-digit margin. Admittedly, we had Mary Petola hold the at-large seat for a couple of years. She's trying now to knock off Dan S. Sullivan in the Senate race. But the point is, Alaska's a red state, and we're still having these problems. I live in Florida. I have a very similar experience voting, as does Jay in Alabama. I just give my ID. They give me a ballot, and it's that. This is the lowest hanging fruit imaginable, Carl, of a political issue in America. Is an 80-20 issue. Literally, no matter how you slice demographic, I don't know how the heck this is not national law already. It's insane.
It's just so stupid to me. All right, but he didn't stop there. That same journalist, O'Keefe's team, tested the system using the name Katrina Waller, which is Murkowski's state director, okay, for her campaign, at another Anchorage polling place. A worker confirmed the name was registered at that location, just offered the ballot, like, how much more evidence does the Senate need to blow the filibuster and get this thing done?
Yeah, and they tried to say that, well, the Save America Act wouldn't stop any of this. Now, the Save America Act may be 15 pages long, Carl, last version that I read. And I'll tell you this, there's nothing in the Save America Act that allows you to vote without having produced an ID. None. There's no provisional balloting if you don't have it and it's in the car. I'm just Carl Higbie. You just have to take my word for it. No, you have to produce an ID so that you can get a ballot so that you can vote. That should be. It makes sense. It's an 80-20 issue, as you guys were saying.
Yeah, and serialize the ballots like they want to serialize my guns. I don't know, just crazy. All right, in Michigan, this is another one, Josh. Michigan, new six-figure campaign pushing the state's board of canvassers to certify a petition that would put a citizen-only voting amendment before voters. Now, only Americans should be voting in elections. I don't know why that needs to be a thing.
You know, notably, Michigan actually has been the center of a lot of foreign activity in recent years. I'm not just talking about Abdul Sayed, who is the very much foreign-backed current candidate for U.S. Senate on the Democratic side. But
how about Dear
Michigan,
Bornistan?
Yeah, exactly. But Michigan in general has actually also been the site of various Chinese Communist Party plots. There's actually been numerous Chinese Communist Party related or associated scientists, especially in the Ann Arbor area, which is where the University of Michigan is, who have been charged by the current Trump DOJ with things like biolab activity. So there's a lot of foreign influence in Michigan. A lot of it comes from Dearborn, as you correctly say. But yeah, I mean, this process that we're talking about here should be Americans and Americans only. That should be pretty common sense, I would think.
Yeah, it seems simple enough to me to understand. But New Jersey Governor Mickey Sherrill signed this new bill that effectively bans Christians from praying outside abortion centers, Jay, and like outside, well, and transgender things. You're not allowed to pray in public. What about the free exercise thereof in the First Amendment?
Not only does it ban it, it criminalizes it. This is a maddening law. I mean, within it, I went and read the statute. Reproductive health care includes ending reproduction, abortion, right? And they make it a class 4 felony where you can get 18 months in jail if you are praying outside of an abortion clinic and someone walks by and, you know, they feel intimidated by not having a safe space at that very moment. This law is, one, not going to withhold scrutiny, but the problem is the only way it'll ever be challenged is when somebody's already been put in handcuffs and charged and is facing a trial. So it really is just, I don't know what's going on in some of these states, Carl, but I don't know, Florida and Alabama have it figured out.
Yeah, I mean, I live in the Socialist Republic in Connecticut, so it is what it is. J-Town, Josh Hammer, we appreciate both of you.
Thanks, Carl.
One day maybe I'll get out of here. We'll just get a new governor and it'll be fine. All right, there's a live look at the stage in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where President Trump is scheduled to speak at the top of the next hour. President campaigning for Senator Darlene Graham ahead of her Senate primary runoff with Congressman Ralph Norman. That runoff is upcoming on Tuesday.
For any of that.
Coming up, one man is teaching kids about respect, discipline, and accountability, and doing so via the boxing ring. I am so fired up for this. That man, the Coach Mike, next.
Free yourself from prying eyes. Ask privately with Duck.ai. Visit Duck.ai to chat privately with ChatGPT, Claude, and other AIs for free, all in one place. Duck.ai is from DuckDuckGo, where AI is private and optional.
I've been in the fitness industry for more than 25 years. I put people through the ringer with their body. You also have to recover, and Fatty 15 is a built-in recovery system for your cells. Fatty 15 strengthens cells from age-related breakdown, and the science supports Fatty 15. You can't have a healthy outside if you're not taking care of the inside. I just feel really good, and I want you to feel good too.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. With Ethos, it's so fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage.
Check your price today at ethos.com.
Hi, I'm Mike Hammond with Signal Relief. If your back bothers you day after day, you know it doesn't just affect your back. It changes how you stand, walk, sleep, and how you feel about yourself. Maybe you smile through the grandkids' game, the grocery store, the yard work, or the family trip, quietly counting the minutes until you must sit down, or maybe you just miss those moments altogether. I know how frustrating it is when your body starts making decisions for you. And that's why I'm proud to introduce Signal Core, our new back support system built specifically for everyday backaches. More technology means more relief, and Signal Core has twice the technology as the original patch, and it comes with our money-back guarantee. It's targeted drug-free back support that you can wear through the day. Try Signal Core today by going to signalrelief.com and order your Signal Core.
This isn't your average pill. This is Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks.
Rose Sparks is a fast-acting solution because it dissolves under your tongue.
Rose Sparks.
Guys, get started today.
Connect with a provider to find out if Rose Sparks are right for you.
Today's AI capabilities can make your head spin, but for scammers, it's the ultimate tool. They're using AI to exploit tech gaps and slip past traditional security. PCmatic keeps your information private and devices safe with online security solutions developed in America to protect Americans. Built for homes, businesses, and government agencies. Secure 5 devices for just $50 for your first year. Get online protection at PCmatic.com.
All right, so the left cries about this so-called toxic masculinity, so much so that the children are being raised with little to no discipline. And one boxing trainer in Virginia is running a program that embraces a little bit of violence to hold kids accountable.
I want to see this rage that I keep hearing about. You like violence because this ain't never happened to you. You like hitting on your mom. Those are women. You ain't never ran into somebody that likes violence just as much as you do. That's the problem. You understand that? But we like violence here, so go in there and get you some, because you like it. You ain't not going to try to fight back? Oh, sounds like your parents. Go. You like to put your hands on women. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. You know what all this means? You full of shit, and we calling your bluff. You got your moms thinking that your meltdowns are uncontrollable. Why we ain't having one right now then? Under all the stress you under right now, snot falling down your nose, getting your ass kicked, he ain't said he want nobody to die yet. You ain't said you're gonna spit in Coach Mike's face yet. You're full of shit. You're not the guy you think you are. Do you think it's wrong to be upset or mad, angry? No, it's not. It's a natural human emotion. Everybody has it. What's wrong is when you take it out on the two most loving people I've ever met in my life. Time. That's a fake about to fall down. Time. Get out the room. Go to the classroom.
I'm Carl Higbie, and on behalf of Earth, I endorse this message. See, that your kid doesn't need therapy. Your kid needs discipline. Maybe sometimes punched in the face. By the way, he was boxing a kid that was smaller than him, just to humble him a little bit. This is 100% what is needed in America right now. And the nearly 600,000 likes and even more shares on that video shows that there's plenty of people that are totally on board with this message. And Child Protective Services can pound sand. The man in that video, Coach Mike Jones, founder of One Way Boxing Academy and creator of the Behavior Reset program. My man, I can't thank you enough for doing something like this.
Man, I appreciate you having me, man. It's really my pleasure.
Yeah, so I box myself. I've boxed for about 20 years now, and I think that is one of the most humbling things. When I get clocked in the face, I'm like, man, I either got to put my hand up or learn that lesson. But we have too many kids now that don't learn hard lessons like getting hit in the face.
Yeah, it's my whole philosophy. Just like I said in my book, Resistance Training, resistance, when people run into a little resistance or they get a little taste of what they've been given, tends to turn them the other way. You got to remember, these are kids that are coming with diagnoses like OCD or ODD, ADHD, autism. It doesn't matter. We all have to conform to society. So a diagnosis shouldn't give you the right to put your hands on people. So I just, let nature take its course. Boxing got a way of doing that.
100% it does. Some of the nicest guys I've met in my life are some of the toughest guys I've met in the ring because they got nothing to prove anymore and they know that they can stand up in what they do. But we live in this culture now where fighting is discouraged. People look at me, oh, you box and stuff like that. People, I guarantee you, some white lib in Massachusetts or something like that driving a Subaru was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how he's talking to that young boy.
Yeah, I get it all the time. I try to drown out the noise. When you're getting the results that we're getting with this program, then those comments tend not to even bother me. Boxing is a sport, or combat sports in general, forces you to learn how to be calm in chaos and control your emotions. And that's what's lacking with a lot of these children today, emotional control.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, this reminded me of an essay that I read. It's called Gun is Civilization by a guy named Mark Cluse, and I would encourage all the viewers to go look it up. Gun is Civilization, saying that a civilized society is one where everybody is capable of equal force, where it says human beings only have two ways to deal with one another, reason and force. If you want me to do something for you, you have a choice of either convincing me via argument or compelling me by doing threat of violence or force. Every human interaction falls into one of these two categories without exception. Reason or force. That's it. In a truly moral and civilized society, people exclusively interact through persuasion. And if everybody knows how to throw a punch, Coach Mike, they're all going to use persuasion instead of violence.
Yeah. So if everyone's capable of inflicting the same pain that you are, you're going to think twice about it. It makes perfect sense to me. And as you can see from the results that we're having, it works and it's in real time. Whereas in traditional therapy, they might say, oh, calm down and remember your breathing exercises next time you get angry. I'll get you angry right now, and then I'll work with you while you're angry. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. And what's the website? Where do people find out more about this?
OneWayBoxing.com, or all my socials are OneWay_boxing. Yep.
OneWay_boxing, OneWayBoxing.com. Coach Mike, I hope you have the most success with this program. This is what's needed, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. They're flying in from all over the country, so it's going well, and I appreciate things like this happening. I can't thank you enough, sir.
Yeah, well, it's our pleasure. All right, coming up, Michigan Democrat Abdul El Sayed asked cameras not to show his bookshelf. So what's he hiding? Well, we're going to show you his bookshelf. All that and more. Culture Clash next.
If you find yourself stopping more and more to catch your breath, you could be experiencing what we call temporary oxygen insufficiency. Give yourself a boost with Boost Oxygen. A few deep breaths of Boost Oxygen is all you need to help combat the negative effects of what we call temporary oxygen insufficiency.
Now I live life on my terms. With Boost Oxygen, I am unstoppable.
Get all-natural 5-star respiratory support with Boost Oxygen at these fine retailers.
Several days ago, my plane crashed in the wild.
Good job, buddy.
I'll get you home.
The night has come, and all the land is dark.
I got you. Go, boy.
Heart of the Beast. New trailer online now.
This is the story of the one who manages the warehouse upkeep to help minimize downtime. And he relies on Grainger for the high-quality products he needs to find the right solution. Because when it comes to maintaining his facility like a well-oiled machine, there's only one partner he knows can cut it. Nearly 1.5 million products and fast, dependable delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Elmer Heinrich, at 92 years of age with my wife Shirley, who is 83. Now, both of us are still cutting a wide swath in life, all because of Immuno 150. Now, we are asking you to use Immuno 150 like we do. Give it a chance for at least 90 days so that you can see what 70 plant minerals and 80 additional nutrients can do for you.
It really is incredible.
Don't place your order until after you've watched the 3 videos on our website.
We wanted transparency, but we couldn't find it. So we started Good Ranchers to reconnect the American family to the American farm. All of our meat is 100% born, raised, and harvested right here on American soil. But good sourcing is just the beginning. We go the extra mile to take stuff off your plate. Pre-trimmed cuts, easy thaw bags, fully cooked options.
Ooh, yeah, this is good.
And it's good for you. No antibiotics, no added hormones, no seed oils, no gluten, no funny business.
For all the extra hours and endless meetings, you deserve this. It's the Omaha Steaks Labor Day event, and right now we're offering 50% off site-wide. Order now and you'll get 8 of our famous burgers free when you visit omahasteaks.com/TV.
This is our time, you know? His favorite route is the long way around. Now we can take it again. I'm not sure who loves this freedom more, him or me.
Being out here alone is my happy place. Nature can have its threats, but I'm prepared.
I'm not trying to fight wildlife. I just don't want one bad encounter deciding everything.
Carry confidence wherever you go with Byrna. And now it's the biggest sale ever at Byrna.com.
There's some pretty serious questions surrounding Michigan's Democrat Senate candidate Abdel El-Sayed. Actually, there's been a bunch, but now there's even more, and what he didn't want cameras to see. So there's this new report that found out that a documentary crew was filming inside his home in 2018. Okay, this is a while ago. El-Sayed was asking them not to show his bookshelf, saying he wanted to keep the shots secular, blah, blah, blah. Watch this.
Or the other one.
You're going to want to not get these things in the shot.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we did.
We did not.
Good. Trying to keep the shot secular.
Well, the bookshelf ended up being on camera anyway, and it contained the Quran, dozens of other Islamic texts, including works by a scholar that the U.S. identified as, oh, that's right, an unidentified unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. The scholar, Abu Hakim Bilal Phillips, or whatever his name is banned from several nations. He supports child marriage, said wife beating is totally permissible if it's to reestablish authority. He also believes homosexuality is evil and dangerous. So we already know El-Sayed hates America. We know his mom worked for a designated terror group, or an affiliate. So he was brought up to hate us, and he reads books written by terror suspects who has no respect for women and thinks that you can marry kids, and he lives by a religion that hates gay people, but he's running as a Democrat. Common sense cowboy Patrick Dorinson, try to make sense of that. Executive Director of Newsbusters Tim Graham. Patrick, can you make sense of that?
Well, no, I can't, but let me tell you something, Carl. In a couple of weeks here, it's going to be 25 years since the September 11th sneak attack on the United States of America. And here we are having the barbarians inside the gate, as Speaker Johnson said. They used to be outside the gate, and now we're welcoming them in. And it scares the hell out of me that the people of Michigan might elect this guy to the United States Senate. But look at the Democratic Party. All they care about is power. They have no principles. They don't care what they're doing to America. If they can use socialists and if they can use, terrorist sympathizers to get power, they will. And what does that say about our country today? It says that we better get on the watch again, and we better gird our loins, because this battle's going to be long.
Yeah, I'm here for it. As soon as my wing heals up in about 3 or 4 weeks. All right, 2 Afghan men, Tim, who entered Britain illegally, obviously, have been convicted of raping a woman at knife point while she was stargazing on a first date in a London park. Now, we talked about it the other night, how the UK was handing out pamphlet that was saying, hey, you shouldn't rape people and don't have sex with kids. I guess they didn't get the memo.
Maybe it wasn't in their native language.
Yeah.
Look, this is the thing, is that our liberal media always wants to try to tell you that it's Islamophobic, that you basically hate brown people, when you're simply saying, wouldn't it be a nice idea not to import rapists or deport them when you find them? Sounds reasonable, but that apparently makes you a hater.
Yeah, apparently it does. I mean, I just can't believe that they would defy the handbook that they were handed. I mean, it's shocking to me. All right, so Patrick, not a real doctor, Joe Biden, is now entertaining, and I'm using that term loosely, the possibility that Joe Biden was actually drugged before the 2024 debate. Watch this.
And there's no way anyone could have, God forbid, laced his drink or something. Who knows?
Who knows? I know. That never happened. He's just old and senile.
You know something? When I was in Washington many years ago, back in the early 90s, I remember asking somebody, who's the dumbest senator in the United States Senate? And bipartisanly, they all said Joseph Robinette Biden. So let's remember something. This guy hasn't been smart for his whole career. And whether he was doped up or not, he's an idiot. He always has been an idiot. And she propped him up like Edith Wilson propped up Woodrow Wilson after he'd had a stroke. She wanted the power, and she wasn't about to give it up. And that's the only reason that she made him run for president again. All he wanted to do was go to the beach.
Yeah, or to the bathroom. Hey, Tim, real quick, a former Seattle Times sports columnist has finally had it. He says the paper refused to run his column about female athletes who don't want to compete against men in women's sports. He said that that was his final straw, and after 11 years there, he resigned. Like, the tides are turning, man.
Yeah, this is the orthodoxy that a lot of the media operates under, and that is you're actually not allowed to have an opinion that opposes the LGBTQ police. They don't even publish it. And these are the people who will try to tell us somebody else is a threat to democracy. They can't stand an opposing point of view.
No. Yeah, no, they absolutely can't. Well, you got to leave it right there. Patrick Dorinson, Tim Graham. Hey, Patrick, congratulations on the wedding, my man. I didn't get a chance to congratulate you.
Well, thank you very much, Carl. Guess what? You know, I'm on my third, and I think this time I got it right. She's the greatest woman I ever met.
I love it, man. Well, congratulations. Appreciate both of you guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
All right, there's a live look right there, folks, at the stage in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where President Trump, just minutes away from a rally, his plane has landed, I'm told. Senator Darlene Graham, ahead of her Senate primary runoff with Congressman Ralph Norman. She's going to be on stage with him. That runoff is upcoming this Tuesday. All right, coming up, we got major new updates on the Carmelo Anthony case, and the whole evidence and thing got uglier for him, and now the new Black Panther Party, dare I say, weighs in. Next.
When Saturday rolls around, I don't want to jump through hoops to watch college football. Good thing DirecTV makes it easy to keep up with my favorite college teams. No hopping between apps or channels.
Stream college football without the hurdles on DirecTV.
Wow. Lo and behold.
I know that walk anywhere.
Welcome to the set of Tulsa. It's a privilege to see you here.
Oh my God. If any first responder or Gold Star widow has someone die in the line of duty and they leave a young family behind, we pay every mortgage off in America.
Well, it's such a humane thing to do, to take care of the people that have taken care of us.
Exactly.
I'm Sylvester Stallone. Please donate $11 a month at t2t.org.
Thanks to Jointivia, I'm back in the swing of things. Wait, $70 for a refill?
You gotta try Single Care. Just look up your prescription, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and save.
See why more people are saving with Single Care.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work, try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online and save $45. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code NEWS. That's urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code NEWS.
This isn't your average pill. This is Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks.
Rose Sparks is a fast-acting solution because it dissolves under your tongue.
Rose Sparks.
Guys, get started today.
Connect with a provider to find out if Rose Sparks are right for you.
I wish I wasn't afraid to smile.
I wish I could get implants.
I wish I knew who to trust.
I'm not looking for another quick fix.
I want a smile I know will last.
Clear Choice smiles are made to stand the test of time. They're built by dental implant experts, backed by 20 years of pioneering research and a lifetime warranty on premium arches. Our smiles are built for life. Schedule your free consultation today.
I've been in the fitness industry for more than 25 years, and Fatty 15 is a built-in recovery system for your cells. You can't have a healthy outside if you're not taking care of the inside. Try Fatty 15.
Folks, if you know anything about me, I hate this social justice crap. Carmelo Anthony's story. This has just gone from weird to weirder. There's renewing calls from the new Black Panther Party. I mean, like this woman is out. Look, she's out there saying though, oh, he's got to be released immediately, like demanding. Look, if I'm ever in trouble for any reason, just pray. I pray to God that someone like that woman never comes to advocate for me. Okay, she's doing a terrible job. So what happened recently was that we knew Anthony's family was appealing this decision, and because the judge who presided over the guilty verdict, from a jury by the way, made some media comments about it after the trial being the right decision. That's all he said. He was recused from the appeal, so he's not allowed to oversee this anymore. And like, okay, fine, I guess. See, when you appeal something, you can't enter new evidence because you've already had the trial. In an appeals process, only lets you relitigate the actual decision itself. Was there malice or something wrong in that decision? And you have to show on solid terms, beyond a reasonable doubt, that the original decision may have been incorrect and why, using the evidence that was already used in the case. You can't bring new stuff in under most circumstances. So I don't actually think this makes a bit of difference. It was a pretty clear and cut case that the jury returned like that. Okay? What's even more clear and cut and how crazy this kid was, though. The prosecutors and the defense counsel had reached this like gentleman's deal behind the scenes to not release a bunch of evidence publicly or use it in the trial itself. But in light of the appeal and then playing some shady games on the defense side, prosecutors said like, look, we don't really have a reason to honor this anymore. So some of the things that were exposed were Carmelo Anthony's girlfriend at the time. She reported to the school principal from like a few hours before the stabbing that he was refusing to allow her to break up with him and he was like stalking her. But here's where it gets really weird. There was some disturbing text messages from Anthony's phone where he had sent a photo of a knife and a message saying, quote, I'm low-key on the verge, and apparently fantasizing about, quote, stabbing someone and licking the blood off the knife. the dude had some major problems. And the more we find out, the worse this is going to get for this kid, I think, in his appeal, all right? Which I don't think he'll ever win that, ever. Now, the defense counsel, in exchange for leaving those things out of the trial and the public eye, also agreed not to make the victim, Metcalf, and some early reports of him doing what they're calling, quote, racist graffiti, okay? I didn't see it. But I have no idea if this has any bearing on anything in a court, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any bearing on why he got stabbed. It actually doesn't matter why he got stabbed, just that Anthony stabbed him in the heart. So it doesn't matter what graffiti he may have done a year ago, whether it was racist or not. You just can't stab somebody for that. This murder conviction is independent of anyone's feelings or anyone's thoughts of racism or perceived racism or the view of the social justice mob outside. This is the problem with cases like this. You got Trayvon Martin, okay? Hey, a guy was super innocent. Michael Brown, hands up, don't shoot. Turns out he robbed a liquor store, reached for a cop's gun. Daniel Penny was the good guy. Kyle Rittenhouse was the good guy. There's always a mob to where the black person is innocent and the white person is guilty, no matter what, according to the mob. People are getting so tired of this stuff, and all these groups think that they're fighting for some like just cause, and they're the only ones who are fighting for justice, no peace, you know, all this stuff. They're not, and everybody. And I say everybody, like 90% of the country is super annoyed with these blind racial allegiances every time we have a case like this. It's not about racism. It's not about color. It's about how he acted. Even after the facts come out, it doesn't change the opinion of the mob, too. There was a conviction by a jury. And this is the thing. Low T, James Tallarico down in Texas, saying, this proves the system fails black people in Texas, right?
Now we've got a system that doesn't serve all Americans equally. I'm not an expert on this particular case, but I know that there were no black members of the jury. And to me, that's the only evidence you need to really prove that this system is not working for black Texans.
Actually, the justice system worked. I don't understand what, Carmelo Anthony, you're going to show that he didn't murder Metcalf? I don't think you can do that. That's the basis for this whole thing. Did Carmelo Anthony stab Metcalf in the heart? Yes, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter about the people's feelings or the color of their skin or if they were arguing or what was said and all that stuff. All that matters is that Carmelo Anthony committed murder, which has been well proven beyond a reasonable doubt. These things are so clear-cut. It is just so unbelievable to me. Anyway, before we go, someone walked into a San Diego council meeting and to announce that he's a fan of flock cameras. We're going to show you how ridiculous he made it next.
The press won't report the real story.
The American people are actually very smart.
Ridiculous statements.
These guys are just plain weird.
Actual scandals.
Even the immunity decision. I mean, that decision was so misreported.
That's my job, and I aim to do it every night.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Falling down stairs can be disastrous. Acorn Stair Lifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stair Lift, the world's leader in stair lifts. That's right, don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stair Lifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Now you can safely ride with your Acorn Stair Lift.
Now I don't have to worry about him climbing those stairs anymore.
And our Acorn Stair Lift was very affordable. Our Acorn Stair Lift is definitely more affordable than moving.
The Acorn Stair Lift has a padded seat and backrest for maximum comfort. It easily folds up for access to the stairway. 5 safety sensors stop your Acorn Stair Lift if there is something in the way. And it even runs during power outages.
I am king of my castle again.
You'll be working directly with the world's leader in stair lifts. That's right, there's no middleman. Acorn's trained technicians professionally install your stair lift directly to the staircase. In most cases, in 2 hours or less. There's no need for special construction. We don't leave until you're completely comfortable using your Acorn Stair Lift.
Don't risk a serious fall going down the stairs.
I was really surprised at how little it cost.
Call for your free no-obligation information kit and quote from Acorn Stair Lifts. Just don't fall. Safely ride up and down your steps.
Give your life a lift with Acorn Stair Lifts.
Call 1-800-908-4077 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That number again is 1-800-908-4077. Call now.
Don't kibble your dog.
Hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, back.
What's wrong with this?
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means they're ultra-processed. At Dr. Marty, we freeze-dried premium meats, fruits, and vegetables, and it's available at your local pet store.
This is our time, you know? His favorite route is the long way around. Now we can take it again. I'm not sure who loves this freedom more, him or me.
Being out here alone is my happy place. Nature can have its threats, but I'm prepared.
I'm not trying to fight wildlife. I just don't want one bad encounter deciding everything.
Carry confidence wherever you go with Byrna. And now it's the biggest sale ever at Byrna.com.
Pain kept slowing me down. Then I tried new KT Menthol pain relief patches. Unlike other patches that only mask pain, KT increases blood flow to help accelerate healing. So don't give up. Tape up. New KT Menthol pain relief patches.
What if your GLP-1 for weight loss was as easy to take as a mint? Small, discreet, and easy. Think about that. No needles. This is compounded tirzepatide, a mint-flavored tablet designed to fit into your daily routine. You simply let it dissolve under your tongue. A simple daily tablet, as easy to take as a mint.
Save $50 with promo code SLIM at dropthepounds.com/slim. That's promo code SLIM at dropthepounds.com/slim.
So we've been talking about flock cameras for a while now, and they're popping up all over the place and how much we generally hate them, and it's so ridiculous. Earlier this week, a town supervisor said the CEO of Flock should be hanged. We played the clip for you for treason, and now there's a dude dressing up as Darth Vader showing up to city councils in favor of them.
The Emperor is a fan of Flock, and we must continue utilizing Flock technologies so that we can follow and surveil the rebel scum. We all know that the Flock cameras are not only following the license plate readers, they are following children. They are following children in parks and gymnasiums, and we need this. I need this so I can stalk my ex-girlfriend.
Government will keep doing this stuff until you make noise, folks. That you do ridiculous stuff, you get ridiculous people like that coming out. I get a million emails from you folks, and I try to read them all. A lot of people are asking me, like, hey, Carl, what are you doing about this? Look, my job is to inform you, give you the facts. Your job is to help your community. And if you don't think you can do something, you are wrong. You can be the person you're waiting for, and you can stand up, and you cannot take this stuff from these politicians, because politicians, they only answer to two things, their seat and their money. Figure out a way to take both of those away, and those Flock cameras, Rob, will be down by like tomorrow morning.
The Flock cameras, it is a heck of a scam, isn't it? They're suddenly everywhere. Yep. Carl, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.